All right, let's do this. The Book of Lorath. I'm actually slightly disappointed in myself that didn't even know that these were a thing. I'm surprised they haven't showed up into my recommended at all. But here we are. Time to consume fucking Diablo content. Here we go.
You've traveled a long way to be disappointed, young scholar. Life has taught me well that evil is inevitable and can never be truly destroyed.
Keep this aesthetic, that'd be great.
It can be thwarted. It can be driven back. But only for a time. Men are weak. Evil
Men are weak.
seductive. And those who would do nothing in the face of malevolence are cowards.
It's a very calming voice.
A weapon against the darkness rising in Sanctuary. The only thing I can arm you with is knowledge. So when evil finds a foothold and flourishes once again, at least I can say it was not due to...
Oh, the book is named Diablo 4. To the 4th edition of the Book of Lorath. Here we are.
Ignorance.
Let's go.
For untold eons, an eternal conflict has raged between the demonic hordes of the burning hells and the angelic host of the high
That's
heavens.
true. Lorax, that is
Scholars
true.
have spilled gallons of ink and spent their eyesight in dim scriptoriums, writing and debating how these two factions began, and what came before them, before us. It is said the first being, Anu, was the sum of all things. Good,
Okay, we're just going over... This is probably just basic lore to get everybody introduced to it.
physical and mystical, joy and sadness, the one. Anu wished to be free from the malignance of evil, and so separated and expelled the darkness within. But what is cast off does not simply disappear, and that darkness found its shape in the seven-headed dragon, Tathamet, the prime evil, who fought ceaselessly with Anu to their mutual destruction. It is said, when the remains of these two titans settled, the universe as we know it came into existence. All the realms of the high heavens.
Oh shit, okay, so these are all the...
hells and
all the angels and the...
Tathamet's
legions? I
blackened
forgot what they're called.
gave birth to the burning hells, and each of the seven heads transformed into the seven great evils.
Great
each with
evils, that's what they
dominion
are.
over their own realm. The three most dominant of these inherited the title of prime evil, feeding off one another to maintain dominion and rule over the legions of the burning hells.
Yeah, I think they're just introducing people to the lore who maybe is a little bit late.
Intelligent and cunning, father of Lucian and Lilith, the mother of Sanctuary. Baal, lord of destruction.
This is a nice refresher, though.
The world stone. And Diablo, lord of terror. As Deckard Cain once wrote, for as long as man fears the dark, Diablo will remain the most insidious and, I would argue, the most powerful of all.
This is actually a very fucked up tree.
The four lesser evils, no less dangerous to the people of Sanctuary, are not to be discounted on the basis of their title. Underestimating their capabilities and intentions is a sure path to our destruction. Belial, Lord of Lies, uses poisonous untruths to create an ever darker, fractious world. Juriel, Lord of Pain, revels in the cacophonous screams of those in physical agony. Even demons are no stranger to his torment. Andariel, the Maiden of Anguish, is the counterpart of Juriel, whereas he delights in bodily torment.
It's pretty cool about the lore that they've built up for this.
Pleasure from anguish of the mind and soul. Asmodan, the Lord of Sin, a clever manipulator and master of temptation.
Glad they're putting these out too to introduce people into it too.
But revels most in the fate.
Imagine having imagination. True.
Demonic hordes spawned from the vile cavities of the burning hells.
I wish.
A host of ravenous, furious monstrosities that reflected the poisonous elements of the progenitor. There are demons beyond counting in the burning hells. At the center of the high heavens lies the crystal arch,
Evil.
said to be formed of Anu's spine. When it vibrates in perfect harmony, an angel is created, embodying an aspect of what Anu had once been. The purest of these become archangels, and 5 rose above the rest to lead the host of the high heavens. Imperius, archangel of valor, a brilliant tactician who commanded the warriors of heaven and led
But all
them
these
to
guys fell
battle with
apart.
hell, but whose pride has led to much destruction. Tyrael, former
Tyrael.
archangel of justice,
Yeah.
who abandoned his rigid dedication to justice and took up the aspect of wisdom instead. He supported the many causes of humanity, renounced his angelic nature, and fell to earth as a mortal. Sanctuary would have fallen to darkness long ago without his aid. Inarius, creator of Sanctuary, served under Tyrael.
I like how they put
Advisor to the
them and
council
Lilith next to each other with their
until
trees
he
entwined.
rebelled.
I like that.
Oriel, the archangel of hope, who embodies the shining light of a bright future and sees the potential for good in all things, but who is no less a warrior than the others,
And the man who ruined it all.
dispatching those who spread despair and darkness.
I don't
She
think
is
yet.
said to lead the chorus of the high heavens in harmony.
No, not yet.
Ethereal, the archangel of fate, who comprehends the tangled web of fate
There he
and
is.
time, though the
Death
future
himself.
of humanity remains obscure to him.
Stupid Optimus, true.
Unseeable, because we are not of the natural order of creation. Malthael, the former archangel of wisdom, who fell to darkness and brought ruin to Sanctuary when he abandoned the aspect of wisdom and took up the aspect of death. I encountered him once long ago and barely escaped with my life. Few who met him after his transformation survived. After
It's
all,
death.
no one can stop death.
Yeah.
These 5 archangels formed the Angiras Council and ruled heaven in harmony until Malthael abandoned heaven. The council fell to confusion and dissension. Their unity diminished. Alongside heaven and hell, there is a third realm, and this is where our next story begins and ends. Where Anu and Tathamed slew one another, the violence scarred the cosmos and birthed the plane of pandemonium.
That's a really nice drawing, by the way.
Here, the World Stone, also called the Eye of Anu, came to rest. A mountain-sized artifact of infinite power that embodied the endless cycles of birth and death, destruction and creation. Desire to control its infinite power fueled the eternal conflict, until Inarius and Lilith stole it
Yep.
and used it to create Sanctuary.
Yep. Me too. I'm a little bit,
Goes
but
light. The
not
fire
crazy.
is dying and the cold is unrelenting. Come back if you're still alive, and I'll tell you the tale of our creation.
okay. So they're gonna get in now. Sanctuary got
Lilith
created.
and Inarius,
Yep.
mother and father of Sanctuary,
Yep.
and the long, bloody history of the eternal conflict.
Yep.
For now, we should rest. And I pray your dreams are not as dark as mine.
I like this introducing like the overall lore to everybody. I like that a lot. How many people have watched these? Almost 400K. Okay. This game's gonna be so fucking big. This game's gonna be so big. It's gonna be ridiculously big. All right. It's time for Sanctuary.
You've returned,
I have.
and with ale this time.
Instantly.
A
Ale.
wise choice for this dark story.
I wish I had ale.
The shadows will seem longer when it's done. Before we talk to Anu and Tathamet,
That is true. In 5 days, we won't be watching it. We'll be living it. You're goddamn right. Yeah. Here we go.
the high heavens and the burning hells, and all who reside there, embroiled in the eternal conflict. Now let us speak
God, I
of
can't
the
wait.
creation of Sanctuary, and our creators, Inarius and Lilith, angel and demon.
4th edition
our
of Diablo,
father
Book of Lilith.
and mother. The eternal conflict raged on, endless and all-consuming. Led by the Angiras Council, the angelic forces fought countless battles against the armies of the 7 demon lords, who sought to conquer all.
I mean, they've built this up
creation.
over the course of years.
Though the high heavens often defeated their adversaries, they also failed to destroy them, allowing evil to return again and again and again. Ceaseless, unrelenting. Both sides claimed victories. Both suffered crippling defeats. The conflict was a never-ending slaughter. Many of these battles were fought in Pandemonium, the plane said to be formed from the violent death of Anu and Tathamet, where the heart of creation lay, the mountain-sized artifact that would come to be known as the World Stone, housed within
which was
the
used to
Pandemonium
create a
fortress.
sanctuary.
Any who control the World Stone would have the power to create new worlds, or unmake them with a thought.
It's as big as a mountain.
Desirable and dangerous prize indeed. It became the focus of the eternal conflict. Over the eons, the Pandemonium fortress
Trying to
changed
control
hands
it.
many times. It became a strange place, embodying the warped reality of Pandemonium as a whole, a structural and liminal place, affected by the high heavens and burning hells alike. Angels and demons, too numerous to count, have fallen at its gates, over and over and over again. This endless cycle caused Inarius, advisor to the Angiras Council and under Tyrael's command, to eventually conclude that the war could never be won. And he resolved to abandon it.
Which he was probably
Elsewhere,
right.
Lilith, daughter of hatred, was
It'll
arriving
never
at
end.
a similar conclusion. On her father Mephisto's role in the eternal conflict, Lilith once wrote, "My father is content to fight the same battles and the same foes while everything turns to ashes. The war will
Sounds
never be
about right.
won so long as he and his brothers lead. There is an end to it. But
It's called the Book of Lorath. So I guess Diablo's been putting out these like little short stories. That's been kind of like introducing the lore to, because all this stuff is kind of like known if you know Diablo, but I think they're using it as a vessel to introduce people to the lore who are maybe new to the world, kind of like catch them up in a way, which is nice. It depends on how far they go into this, but this has been really good so far.
fools like my father are too blind to see it. Inarius and Lilith, angel and demon. Separated by a vastness in distance and experience that is difficult to comprehend, they came to the same conclusion. They must escape the eternal conflict. I wonder if the cosmos had ever contemplated such an unholy alliance and divine union. I wonder if creation shuddered in horror and awe as Inarius and Lilith gathered others to their cause, fellow renegades seeking escape from the ceaseless fighting. The details of their meeting, like so much of our history, is obscured by the relentless passage of time and myth. But the great Horadrim scholar Deckard Cain tells us of Inarius, wounded or marooned in the Pandemonium
Deckard
fortress,
Cain.
meeting with Lilith. Lilith was not spared the hatred of her father Mephisto, and from time immemorial had awaited an opportunity to rebel. For the first time, combatants in the eternal conflict not only set aside their differences, but also formed a union. It's difficult to imagine, but legends tell us that Inarius and Lilith forged an alliance that would alter the course of the war, reality itself, and all of existence.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Inarius and Lilith pledged
created a
themselves
world.
to their joint cause of escaping the eternal conflict.
Out of
United
thin
in
air.
purpose, both resourceful and wise in their way, they managed to gain control of the World Stone.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. I mean, a lot of similarities.
And hide it from the watchful eyes of the heavens and the hells. Working together, they shifted the World Stone into a pocket dimension, hiding it from the opposing powers of the eternal conflict. There, they used its extraordinary power to shape a new world. A refuge.
I don't remember if they ever go over. This is just something I just don't remember. I mean, some of this stuff is kind of a refresher for me too. I don't remember if they go over how they, in fact, like, got the stone. I don't remember if they go over that. I'm sure they do at some point.
Free from unending strife.
I just can't remember.
A sanctuary. The renegade angels and demons came together to create new life, and the nature of the eternal conflict
Nephilim.
changed. The joining of the opposing natures within these firstborn made beings unlike any before.
I think they're the
Beautiful
Nephilim.
abominations called
Nephilim?
Nephilim,
Yeah.
which humanity would one day descend as inheritors of both lineages. The birthrights of the firstborn graced them with the potential to resist the evil of the burning hells and to defy the dominion of the high heavens. Because of this, many of the angels and demons who rebelled with Lilith and Inarius feared what these children might become.
Which is dude. Which is a power trip, is what it is. Wait, they can defy us? Oof. Ooh, I don't know about that. That's kind of scary.
The burden of children can strain even the strongest of allies, and it seems that angels and demons are not immune to this simple truth. Surely Inarius and Lilith could not have foreseen the cosmic consequences of their actions. Inarius was alarmed when he realized that his children might surpass both angels and demons in potential. The other angels and demons fought fiercely over what should be done,
Gives a
whether
shit.
to spare the Nephilim
Again, power trip.
or exterminate them. The dissent between the two groups alarmed Inarius, who called for a period of reflection. Lilith, driven into a mad
And he went away for like
frenzy by the threat
300
of her
years or
children's extinction,
fucking long it was.
ruthlessly murdered each and every renegade angel and demon.
A mother's love. A mother's love.
Leaving only Inarius to discover the carnage she had wrought. Horrified by the loss of his comrades at Lilith's hand, Inarius became enraged. But still he could not kill Lilith. Instead, he banished her.
Because he loves her. Don't let anybody tell you different. He loves her. What up, MK? How we doing?
From the sanctuary they had created together. Inarius then attuned the World Stone to diminish the powers of the Nephilim over time, and disappeared in the aftermath. As their strength faded,
Oh, this is where he
generation by
disappears for like
generation,
300
they
years.
came to resemble mortals.
400 years? I don't remember how long it is. A long
Angelic
fucking
or
time.
demonic, simply human. As their power diminished, so too did their collective memory, until only legends of what came before remained. It is said that the firstborn remained immortal and undying as humankind took shape, giving rise to the cultures, kingdoms, and tribes of Sanctuary,
Till they went away
before
too.
themselves fading into myth. Now you know the birth of our world
Okay.
and our inheritance, demonic and divine.
This has been good. It's been a good refresher too.
The eternal conflict that rages ceaselessly in each of us. Think on that, young scholar, until we meet again.
Which is
None
going to
of
be in a
us
few
is above
moments.
Sin or immune to evil's seduction. Even the most righteous may fall, given the right push in the wrong direction.
He's been pretty good. He's been good. The Lord of Terror. Oh boy. Oh boy. You've
Another
returned.
night, and
Oh.
you brought more ale.
I need to go get some ale.
This time.
Here's some
Essential
whiskey.
for keeping warm here in the fractured peaks.
How about 151 rum,
Pour me
buddy?
a cup.
Okay.
Tonight is a long, sad tale of bravery and betrayal,
Yeah, since
and
it's
the great blight of
14
destruction
minutes
that
long.
changed the very fabric of our world.
The Lord of Terror.
When last we spoke of Inarius and Lilith and humankind's creation. how humanity found itself caught by the eternal conflict. A battle that does not belong to humankind, but one we must fight nonetheless.
Seen some of this already.
Two rival groups, the Temple of the Triune and the Cathedral of Light, sprang up on the world of Sanctuary and strove to win over the hearts of mankind. The Triune was secretly backed by the three prime evils, Mephisto, Baal, and Diablo, who had discovered Sanctuary's existence. Inarius secretly founded the Cathedral of Light in response, an attempt to counter their malevolent influence. Unbeknownst to either the prime evils or Inarius, Lilith returned to Sanctuary to reawaken her children's dormant powers, knowing they had the ability to banish the agents of the burning hells and Inarius for good. Soon after, Sanctuary was engulfed in what would become known as the Sin War, a catastrophic proxy war over the souls of humankind. Humanity won the war, but they faced another kind of battle. The high heavens too became aware of Sanctuary and her blasphemous children, and now deliberated on humanity's ultimate fate. With the Angiras Council split, the Archangel Tyrael cast the final vote to spare us from extermination. Instead, the memory of all that came before was taken from humankind, including knowledge of their inherited power. In exchange for their part in leaving Sanctuary alone, the burning hells took Inarius into their custody, and it is said that he has suffered unending torment at their hands ever since. Of course, it is not the nature of the burning hells to leave well enough alone, and before long, more attempts to corrupt humankind were underway. The lesser evils, led by Asmodan and Belial, staged an uprising that upset the established order of the burning hells. Convinced the prime evils had abandoned.
There's always conflict. Always. Either with each other, within each other, against each other. Always. Always a conflict.
The eternal conflict
I mean, you got to keep the story moving forward, I guess.
in favor of corrupting humanity. The usurpers set out to banish the three prime
Never
evils
peace.
of Sanctuary. They lost fully 1/3 of their army, but they succeeded in banishing Mephisto, Baal, and Diablo into the mortal realm in what would come to be known as the Dark Exile. They spent decades spreading
True,
terror,
Gold.
hatred, and destruction across the land.
True.
It is here that the story of the Horadrim begins, when Tyrael assembled a group of powerful mages and tasked them with humanity's defense, standing fast against the tyranny of the prime evils and guarding against the wrathful eyes of the heavens, falling upon humankind once again. Tyrael carved 3 soul stones from pieces of the World Stone, crystalline prisons designed to contain the malignant essence of a prime evil. Sapphire for Mephisto, amber for Baal, and crimson for Diablo.
Diablo.
Under Tyrael's guidance, the Horadrim searched across the vastness of Sanctuary.
That's the stone that... Fuck, what was the guy's name? What was the guy's name in the first one? God, it's been so long for a lot of this stuff. For me. Because the first one, you rip the stone. He tries to contain Diablo within himself. He becomes... What the fuck is his name? The Wanderer? I don't
For
remember.
the Lords of Hell, with the aim to contain them. The Horadrim found Mephisto, and after much struggle imprisoned him. The Sapphire Soulstone was given to the Zakarum for safekeeping. They also battled Baal, but in the process the Soulstone intended for him was shattered. The Order's leader, Tal Rasha, trapped Baal's essence in the largest shard of the Amber Soulstone, but feared that was insufficient. The Horadrim concluded they could fuse the shard to a human body in an effort to better contain Baal's power. Tal Rasha selflessly volunteered his own body to contain the Lord of Destruction's raging essence. Tyrael himself took up the solemn duty of driving the shard into Tal Rasha's heart. The grieving Horadrim sealed away their noble leader within a subterranean tomb, believing they were leaving him to suffer torment beyond imagination.
Very poor decision.
To hold fast the monstrous Lord of Destruction for all of time. In the wake of this tragedy, Jared Kane took leadership of the bruised and battered mages. Together, The Horadrim spent nearly 10 years following Diablo's path of terror through Sanctuary.
It is so good.
Until finally coming
So
to
good,
blows
Diggo.
and containing him within the Crimson Soulstone. Diablo's Soulstone was carefully hidden deep in a labyrinthian cave system by the Horadrim. To guard the great evil hidden in its depths, a Horadric monastery was built atop the caves.
But I remember, I think it was in the first Diablo, that Diablo is... probably will tell me. Yep, you're right. You're right.
Never be disturbed, and that Diablo will be forgotten in the great below.
Yep, you're right.
His influence
Probably will
fading
tell
with
me.
time. But that was not to be.
Yeah.
No prison can last forever. So long as a key exists, its
Oh,
door
there it is.
can be opened. The land near that small monastery would eventually be settled, and the quiet, prosperous town of Tristram was founded there. None could have known, except perhaps Diablo, the grim fate that would befall the unfortunate souls that called Tristram home. Over time, foreign powers influenced the land, and Tristram became politically significant. At the behest of the Zakharum Church, and guided by Archbishop Lazarus, a Zakharum lord named Leoric crowned himself King of Kandurus and made Tristram his capital. He converted the old Horadric monastery into his seat of power, unaware of the threat that lurked beneath. Leoric was wise and just, ushering in an era of peace and prosperity for Tristram. But with time, his outlook darkened, and he grew irrational, his mind slipping towards madness and paranoia. The king began ordering the execution of any who questioned him. People started calling him the Black King. He declared war on the neighboring kingdom of Westmarch, in part thanks to Lazarus's counsel, an unjust and unwinnable war. Leoric's eldest son Aidan joined the fight, seeking approval from his father. Shortly after Aidan's departure, Leoric's youngest son Albrecht went missing. Leoric tortured and executed many of his own people in his frenzy to find his son. His knights, freshly returned from the war and appalled at the state of their kingdom, were forced to slay the Black King to stop the brutality. In an attempt to honor the man he had been, Leoric was given a proper burial in the old catacombs.
Oh, shit.
Aidan too returned to find a kingdom in shambles. Rumors of the horrific happenings in Tristram spread, along with the news of the appearance of demonic creatures, and brought adventurers to Tristram. Two such adventurers joined Prince Aidan when he entered the catacombs to find his brother Albrecht.
All right, this is all stuff I don't remember any of this.
During this harrowing journey, Aidan was forced to strike down his own father, who had been reanimated as a foul entity called the Skeleton King.
Okay.
Continuing on,
Kind of remember this. Never mind.
Soon found Diablo himself. After a great battle of fire and steel, the Lord of Terror was defeated. But this ending is not a happy one. For Diablo had twisted young Albrecht's body into his own demonic form.
Okay.
In slaying the demon, Aidan had slain his younger brother. Distraught, Aidan pulled the soul stone from Albrecht
I think this is Diablo 1 right here. Pretty sure.
and plunged it into his own body.
Yep. And he becomes the Dark Wanderer. I don't think that's right, but I'm going to go with
In
it.
the weeks that followed, Aidan would seek comfort with a local witch named Adria. Slowly succumbing to Diablo's influence, Aidan
Become somebody like
eventually
that.
traveled east from Tristram and became known as the Dark Wanderer.
Oh, fuck
Liberating
yeah, baby.
Baal and Mephisto.
Such a stupid fucking name that I could just pull that out of my ass. It was somewhere in here.
As the Dark Wanderer traveled east, a new group of adventurers arrived in Tristram. They rescued Deckard Cain from the ruins of Tristram, who implored them to give chase. Soon the party found themselves taking part in a dangerous pursuit of the Lord of Terror. Following the Dark Wanderer's path towards the tomb of Tal Rasha, the adventurers would face the lesser evils of Andariel and Duriel, who had rallied to Diablo's aid. Instead of Tal Rasha, they discovered Tyrael imprisoned in the tomb.
This whole thing is it's just introducing people to the lore. That's actually, this is so smart because Diablo 4 probably has the most eyes on it that it's ever had. Like Diablo, I think itself has had the most eyes that it's ever had on it right now. So releasing these to kind of just like introduce everybody to the lore of Diablo, I think this is extremely smart because you could just watch these and kind of jump into 4.
Baal, still using Tal Rasha as a vessel, had escaped
Like, this is super smart. This is actually really, really smart.
imprisonment to join Diablo in his guise as the Dark Wanderer. Together they had overcome Tyrael and trapped him in the prison he'd made for Baal so long ago. The heroes pressed on to find Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred, deep in the jungles of Kurast. Once more, the heroes were too late to stop Diablo, as he shed what little of Aiden remained, reverting to his monstrous demonic form before returning to the burning hells to rally his demonic legions.
Yeah.
Mephisto remained behind, believing he could defeat the brave pursuers. His confidence was misplaced.
Yes, it was.
The Lord of Hatred was defeated and sealed in the Sapphire Soulstone. The heroes followed the Lord of Terror into the burning hells, thinking only of Sanctuary and not the grim fate that likely awaited them there. At Tyrael's request, the heroes confronted the corrupted angel Isuel on the Plains of Despair. In slaying him, the heroes freed Isuel's spirit, and he informed them that the prime evils knew how to corrupt the Soulstones. With this information, Cain sent the heroes to the Hellforge to destroy the Sapphire Soulstone, in the hopes that this would prevent Mephisto from manifesting in this world ever again. Once there, they had to defeat a demon called Hephasto the Armorer, a towering monstrosity with wide horns. His powerful arms strengthened by thousands and thousands of strikes with his Hellforge hammer against the anvil. After successfully destroying the Sapphire Soulstone, the heroes traveled deep into the wastes of the burning hells to face the Lord of Terror himself.
Diablo.
They fought a fierce, pitched battle against increasingly dire odds deep in Diablo's own realm. But the heroes fought and defeated Diablo. They pulled the shard from Diablo's head, trapping his essence inside, and returned to the Hellforge to destroy it as well. With this momentous achievement, only Baal remained to threaten Sanctuary. Unfortunately for us, even one prime evil can unleash inconceivable devastation. As the heroes struggled with Diablo in hell,
Goddamn.
Baal, Lord of Destruction, set his demonic army on a course.
It's actually it's wild to me just how much has been built up for this. I know some people were pretty peeved at Diablo 3 and its whole storyline, but
To Mount Ariat, annihilating all in his path on the way to his prize, the World Stone. Survivor accounts describe the prime evil atop his litter, surveying the barbarian city of Secheron with ravenous malice and an insatiable lust for carnage. His vision for Sanctuary was a wasteland stained with blood. It is both humbling and horrifying to know how close he was to achieving that goal. Thanks to the bravery of the barbarians in the town of Haragath at the base of Mount Ariat, Baal's army was temporarily repelled, buying time enough for reinforcements and the heroes that had slain Diablo and Mephisto to arrive.
yep.
They fought their way through Baal's army, up the mountain, and finally into the very heart of Sanctuary, the World Stone Keep. Though our heroes ultimately defeated Baal, they could not stop his poisonous malice from infecting the World Stone. A difficult choice had to be made, and so it was. Tyrael chose to destroy the World Stone rather than let it fall to corruption. He hurled his great sword Eldruin at the World Stone, shattering it. Some of its shards fell to earth, imbued with power. The World Stone was nearly as large as the mountain that housed it, and its destruction turned the imposing peak of Mount Ariat into nothing more than a vast crater. Local settlements and tribes scattered to the wind, many forced to seek new homes. And it is in this new world, deeply wounded by the treachery of the prime evils, that the next chapter in our history unfolded.
I actually got to hand it to them. They are telling the entire story of Diablo, all the games. Before Diablo 1, well, leading up to it, the lore that you learn leading up to Diablo 1, and then Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and then they're going to get into Diablo 3, probably, like, because I think Diablo 4 is, like, hundreds of years past, so they're probably going to get, I don't know, maybe not 100, 50, 100, something like that. So they're probably going to get into that and Nephilims and all that good stuff, and then lead you right in Diablo 4. So you can just jump right in. You don't have to play any of the games. They're just giving you all of the lore leading up to 4 so that you can go in and play it. Yep. Pretty smart.
The tragic tale of Lear, Diablo's assault on heaven,
Pretty smart.
and Malthael's betrayal, and why so few of us remain. Take care in the darkness. There's more lurking out there than the wind.
Pretty smart. Those were extremely good, though. There it was. That's all the Diablo stuff. Best believe I'm going to be keeping that on the lookout, you know? I'm going to take my time with that game. I'm not.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in